Today, I wanted to go over my how I found out I was pregnant story for this baby. I am currently 36 weeks and we don't know what we're having. So I want to start at the beginning. I think I mentioned something with my very first video on the channel. I gave like a little, quick run through. But it is to me, it's such an interesting and fun story to look back on that I wanted to share the story. So I'm going to go back to 2018. It was at the end of 2018. It was like a magical time. I mean, I say this a lot. I was on like a natural high. I had given my notice at one of my jobs for it to come to an end. It was about a 45-minute drive to and from in traffic. Love the people there, love what I did. But it was time, I thought, to find something closer. Plus it was going to be a difficult time or a difficult season. My husband was in school as well. So, I made the decision, gave my notice, and I found a job, and they called me. They liked me on my first interview. Everything was happening so fast. They would say, we're not going to know for a while, but then they would call me that same day. Hey, we want another interview. So like all those things just made me feel over the moon. Like, wow, this is happening fast, because it is nerve-wracking to make a decision where you are leaving what you're comfortable with, what you've been used to. I had been at that job for 3 years or so. That's very hard to make that decision, but it was the right thing for me at the time. And so with this, interviews and jobs, they were like, it was just not nice flow. Then by some random chance, I was in school, and I was really thinking about continuing school in the fall of this year. So this was about December of 2018. Randomly, the counselor said, hey, there's a deadline, and they extended it. So if you want to get in, you need to do it. So most of the time I spent on my cell phone trying to apply to the university and just get everything out there. And it's just a lot of paperwork. So it was like stressful, but just so exciting, because here I am, one chapter is closing, I'm getting the job, still had interviewed, and then, by some random chance was about to apply to a university. So here's why it's a little more funny, the story itself. So I had specifically said, let's cool it, whatever that means in adult world, because I don't want to be pregnant right now. There's a lot going on, a lot of exciting things happening, a new job, possible school. I was going to start a couple classes in January anyway, and then of course getting ready for the fall for, the university to transfer. So had that conversation. And then towards the end, that was mid-December, towards the end of December is when I had that serious conversation. And I said, because, we wanted a third, maybe in like 2 or 3 years, when we were both established. When he graduated, he was established at his career and his job. When I was definitely more than a newbie at a new job. So I was like, yeah, let's not play with fire, because things can be really funny and then things happen. So whatever that meant, right? So then January comes along, and my attitude, I was a little more frustrated with my husband. I had just started the new job at the end of January. A week into my new job, I started my 2 college classes. One of them was statistics. I'm not a math person, so that was challenging. Then February comes around. My birthday's in early February. For my birthday, we went to dinner. That was the plan. But let me say, that day, it just didn't go well. I was feeling depressed, fighting back tears at dinner, did not want to be there. I truly would have been okay if they would have gone to dinner and I would have been at home. That's just how I felt at the time. And so, and mind you, I was really exhausted at the new job, but I just chalked it up to having 2 college classes, obviously my family, and a new job. So one time I was like on the desk and talking to the lady, and next thing you know, I closed my eyes, and when I looked up, she was looking at me. And it's one of those things where when you're kind of shocked, you kind of get that cold oh gosh, I'm embarrassed. So it kind of wakes you up for a little longer. That's kind of what happened. So, yeah, that's what happened in February. That was the beginning of February, like the first week of February. Then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks later, I'm moving my daughter's mattress in her crib at the time, and it like overexhausted me. It was like, whoa, just let some light in here because it's getting a little dark. There you go. And so I moved her mattress, and I got like super tired, super about to faint. And what scared me was I felt pins and needles from the top of my shoulder to like my elbow on both arms. I've never felt that before. And he was like, you should go to the ER. And I was like, I think I'm okay. I'm just going to lay down. And a little before that, I was feeling pain in my stomach. Like it was kind of growing to my upper stomach. Like I was thinking ulcer. The thing is, I'm not a hypochondriac, but I do like to get checked by the doctor a lot. Like I want to make sure things are okay. I also feel things, lumps here and there, women, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm always thinking there's something going on. That was a Saturday. Sunday I woke up and I still didn't feel right. So I said, I'm going to go to the ER, but I didn't need anybody to go with me. Like I could go. I was like, it's fine. I'm going to go. So I go to the ER, and from the time I walk from the parking lot to the ER, I had shortness of breath. Before I even go to the ER, I'm thinking I have something terminal. I'll let you fill in the blank for whatever it is I thought I had, because there's so many things under the sun. So I get to the ER, I wait. They basically do an EKG. They did a urine test. They did a blood sample, and they did an x-ray on like my upper half, and they wanted to do a sonogram, but they didn't do that yet. So they go and check me like the first half of it, and then I come out to wait again at the lobby, and my husband had shown up. The sweetest thing was he had gotten a babysitter for the kids. We live very close to the hospital. Gotten a babysitter for the kids, got an Uber to go to the ER so that if, obviously I wouldn't have to drive myself back. So that just, bonus points to the max, and also it just made me feel better. So we wait there until they call us back, and then we go to the little room. And I was super exhausted, just couldn't wait to sleep. And people kept asking me questions. Why is it that out of the 20 people that you see, everybody asks you the same question? I don't know. But I just kept wanting to say, like, it's in the chart. I've already explained myself. But anyway, I answered the question. So then the doctor comes in. So he says, well, we checked your blood work. And I'm looking at him like, oh gosh, like this is it, He's going to say something that's going to change my life. And he says, well, you're pregnant. And I look at him and I say, no. And he says, yes, like with a chuckle. He's like, don't get excited though. We still want to do a sonogram. It might be too early. And I'm like, so he leaves me with this heavy news. I look over to my husband, and he's like kind of laughing a little bit. And I'm like still shocked. Like, I don't know what's happening. These things don't happen to us. Not to a PCOS person, or just us who've had to work hard for our kids. Like I've taken natural supplements. I've had, we're Hispanic, so there's a lot of like wives' tales that sometimes work and sometimes don't. And with my daughter, I believe that that's something that worked, because 7.5 years in between them, and then this lady rubbed me or did whatever she did, and like a month or two later, I was pregnant with my daughter. So I don't know. But anyway, my whole point to that was it was very shocking, because more so because I had such a hard time from January to February, like emotionally. And because I had specifically said in December, like, hey, I don't want to be pregnant right now. Let's wait. And so sure enough, they took me back to the sonogram, and I was 9 weeks, and I saw my little tadpole. It was, just so cute. And so then they say, hey, your due date's in September. And it just so happened to be my son's 11th birthday. So I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. Then I get back to the room and I tell my husband, and he starts laughing hysterically. He was more on the laughing hysterically side, like shock. And I was more like that, like just shocked, like I need quiet. But we had two different reactions. Then he's like, do you realize that I will be taking the NCLEX. So he went to school for nursing. The NCLEX around September, because at this point we thought it was mid-September. And I was like, what? The whole thing was just crazy. I mean, it's funny, and I feel like it'll be great for this baby's story. But at the time, I was like, what are we going to do? And I had just started my job, so I knew as far as like disability or FMLA or whatever, I wasn't going to get much, because I wasn't going to get anything because I was so new. So anyway, that's how we found out. And it took us, I think we were shocked for quite a long time. We didn't say anything to the kids for like a week or two, again, because I've had a miscarriage before. It was, you just don't know. So it took us a while. And I think I was just, with so much going on, my plate was so full that it was hard to be like focused on it. I'm thankful that I have good pregnancy. So it wasn't like I was feeling much. I was feeling nauseous, I think, from week 10 to like 14, which is very normal, but I just don't experience those things normally. So for me, it was very much a shock. And I got a tiny taste of what some of my friends deal with even longer than that. And that was awful, really awful. But after like week 14, I felt better. And it was still crazy just when people would ask me how I was feeling, because I was not, I don't think I was present, unfortunately. There was just so much going on, busyness and schedules and schools, and wonderful things too. I graduated with my associates, which I was on like the 20-year plan, but no judgment. My husband graduated, and so there was a lot of good things going on. Now I'm just I have the space mentally to be like, wow, I'm so excited. Like, I cannot wait to just have that little baby smell and be in the hospital. And I'm one that likes to stay in the hospital as long as possible. I like to be taken care of. I feel like I'm the odd one. Most of my friends are like, get me out of here, 24 hours, that's enough. And I'm like, 24 hours? That's like so short. But I just tell my husband, like, lately, within the last couple of weeks, and we just got a 3D sonogram the other day, or 4D, it just makes it more real. So exciting. But that is my story about how I found out that I was, surprise, pregnant. Which is another reason why we didn't find out the gender. I found out with both of them because we have a boy and a girl, and I don't like when people wait, because I'm so nosy and I need to know. And so it wasn't an issue until things settled down, and then I was like present, and then I was shopping for things, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like this, but I'm too far gone, so I am not going to find out. We're going to wait to be properly introduced. And so I'm excited for that. So we will see. And now I can't wait for the other good stuff, like the birth labor video and the first night at the hospital and first bath and all that good stuff. So I'm super excited. But the way that this all started is just a trip. And I can't wait to share with the baby. So this is how they came to be. Anyway, thank you so much. If you're still here, thank you for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you watching my story and just adding to my community. Comment if you had anything, comment below if you had anything interesting like that happen, or if you weren't expecting it and it was quite a surprise and shock for you. I'd love to hear other stories. I never thought I'd get a story like this. So it is neat, and I'm thankful that it was like such a surprise that way, because I never thought that would happen. So thank you again for being here, and please consider subscribing and liking the video if you liked it. And I will share another story on another day. See you guys later. Bye-bye.